of big shoes to fill. That was a great presentation about sandwich. So my topic's on Title IX and women's involvement in sports. So I'm pretty much just going to break it down for you, what it is. I know some of you, maybe just one of you, might value women's sports a little less than others. Go against girls. And we're kind of going to base on that. So just to start it off, can you raise your hand if you play a sport or have played a sport ever? Okay. If we were in 1972 and all of you were female, none of you would be playing a sport. 1 in 27 females played sports in college and in high school, and they were seen as not important. So Title IX pretty much was kind of godmothered by Dr. Bernice, and she kind of set it rolling because she was applying for jobs to work, and essentially they told her she was too smart, and she would pretty much make the other male professors look dumb. And so they denied her applications, and she raised lawsuits against 250 universities. So she got the ball rolling, and then in 1972, June 23rd, Senator Birch Bay introduced it, and it's pretty much a federal law that says that no matter your sex, you cannot have a bias towards you in the workforce, in education, in athletics. And it was mostly thought of for now for like sexual assault or gender inequality, and athletics was kind of just tied in at the end to it. So the athletic portion of it pretty much states that colleges and high schools have to have sports teams for women, and a lot of people were against that because they thought that would take the revenue from the men's teams, and especially in college that they would have to take money from the football teams and place it for women's soccer, women's basketball, and women's volleyball. Those are the 3 main sports. Women's cross country or tennis didn't really exist. And so along with that, they were looking at numbers from 32,000 in the 1950s. That was the number of women that would identify as playing sports. And 310,000 is the number of people, or number of girls who were participating in the country. And today's population is 318 million, and 310 is less than 1%. So if we look at it that way, it's drastic. So throughout this Title IX, it encourages colleges to open up gates for women, and with that, it gives people more opportunities for scholarships and for jobs. And throughout that, they were able to see more changes. In 1972, 90% of coaches who taught or coached women's teams were female. And they did a study in 2008, and only 43% of women's teams were coached by females. So that kind of shows a two-way area that one, men were considering women's sports to be reputable and they would be willing to coach them, or women were still underrepresented and the numbers were still down, and that's mostly the cause of it. So I said 1 in 27 girls in 1972 played. Today, it's 1 in 2.5 girls play. So almost half the females in this classroom would be able to participate. And I think over half of you already play sports here, so that works. Also, the number of women who played sports went up from 310,000 to, I think, about 3.4 million. And you know, that's still not a huge percentage of the population of America, but it's still pretty good. The main purpose of the Title IX was just to shine light on what has been a serious topic. If you were a female in 1972 applying for graduate school, there's 2 spots reserved for you. And thousands and thousands would apply and only 2 would get in. If you were a male, you'd get in right away. No matter your credentials, you'd get in. So Title IX takes that and shows it for athletics, because it's pretty much the same thing. And today, I mean, it's still an issue, but when you think of Title IX today, it is mostly about athletics for some of us, and I think that shows how popular it became amongst people. And yes.
Questions? I know you've got a question.
Please ask questions.
What sport do you play?
I play soccer here at the school.
when did you begin playing soccer?
When I was 6.
How do you like it?
It's great.
Are you aware of the impact that Title IX has had on your life?
I wasn't before researching the topic. I just figured that I could play any sport that I wanted to, and that it wouldn't have an effect. And after researching it, I found out that it's such a big deal for myself and anyone else who's a female that plays sports, and how big of a deal that is in college.
So this happened in 1972.
1972.
Did the civil rights movement kind of give it that a kickstart?
Yeah. So the term sexism or gender inequality was like it was brand new. Like it was just born pretty much, and this was just a couple years into it. So yeah, it gave it a good head start. But for the most part, it wasn't until they actually submitted it into the legislature, and the fact that it was a male senator